So I know back to school might feel like miles away right now. Like the sunscreen hasn't even run out yet. There are still popsicles in the freezer, and September feels like a future problem. But here's the thing, every single year, without fail, the last 2 weeks of August hit like a freight train. Everyone's melting down, backpacks are nowhere to be found, and I'm Googling lunchbox hacks at midnight like I've never packed a meal in my life. This year, I'm not doing that to myself. Back to school prep starts now for me in July. And it's not about being type A, it's about being kind to future me. So, hey, if you're new here, welcome to Reclaim and Reset with Luna. I'm in Ontario, so our kids were in school until the very last week of June, and they don't go back until after Labor Day. So if your kids head back earlier, feel free to bump this timeline up a bit for you, but the mindset shift still totally applies regardless of when you're starting this. And if you're into honest chats that help you feel more prepared without overhauling your whole life, then hit that like button and subscribe to these videos so they keep showing up in your feed for when you need them most. But okay, let's talk about why July is the perfect time to prep for September. Right now, your brain isn't panicked. You're not buried in forms and emails and all of that stuff thinking, oh shoot, I forgot to buy indoor shoes. You've got just enough distance from the end of school chaos to reflect and plan without being overwhelmed. And I'm not talking about buying all of the things, setting the alarms, or planning the back to school outfits. What I'm talking about is soft prep. That's stuff that makes everything easier later. So the first thing I'm doing is organizing the logistics while my brain is still calm. So I'm talking about checking camp and school calendars, booking those haircuts for late August now, confirming who's doing drop-off and who's doing pickup because we know our schedules for September, making a master back-to-school checklist in my notes app because I can still add to it. And right now, I can still remember whose backpack is hanging on by a thread and who broke their bento box 3 weeks before the end of the school year. It's the stuff that gets completely forgotten until a 5-alarm fire the night before school starts when we realize that the broken bento box got thrown out and now we don't have a lunchbox to pack this kid's lunch in for tomorrow. And when I write it down now in July in my notes app, I don't feel stressed about it. I feel capable. The second thing I'm doing is easing back into our rhythms without pushing routine. Routines will come later, but these rhythms, we can start them now. So in July, for example, what I'll start to do is at the end of July, I'll start moving bedtime just slightly earlier as we head into August. So I'll bump it up by about 15 minutes each week during the month of August so that we're closer to that start time. I'll start getting my kids to eat lunch around the same time that they'll be eating lunch at school. I'll start getting them to set their clothes out the night before just a couple of times a week, just to practice. It's not about discipline or building strict routines. It's about reducing the shock to the system later, especially for sensitive or neurodivergent kids, or let's be honest, moms who don't love sudden transitions. And let me pause here for just a second and ask you, what's one rhythm that you could gently start reintroducing this month without making it like a whole thing? Tell me in the comments, because sometimes it's something small, so small that it makes a huge difference later. Okay, so the third thing that I'm doing is decluttering, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. I'm cleaning out last year's school papers, I'm tossing out dried markers, I'm deleting those 15 emails from the school board that I never opened last year. I'm letting go of the guilt I felt for not being the fun mom during the school year. This is the time of year to clear out the space, not just for the school supplies, but for the sanity as well. Because the truth is, transitions are easier when we're not hauling around a bunch of extra junk on our shelves and in our heads. And this year, I'm also involving my kids in this process. Not in a make a vision board for your academic goals kind of way, but in a simple, low pressure way. For example, I'll ask them, what kind of breakfast would you like to eat before school this year? Or I'll let them know to test out their backpacks now to see if anything feels off, if the straps are still good. Or maybe I'll give them a little ownership over their school supplies, their space, or their clothes. Because when they feel included, they feel more ready too. They start to get prepared to go back. And it doesn't fall on me the night before school starts to get everybody all together on the same page. So here's your takeaway to carry into the rest of your day. Prepping for September in July isn't about being overly organized, isn't about being a type A control freak. It's about being kind to your future self. One list now can save 5 meltdowns later on. One tiny rhythm can prevent that back to school whiplash. So start now, start small. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to start. And if this video gave you a little relief or a reminder, hit that like and subscribe button so more moms can find this space. And be sure to drop a comment below. What's the one thing that you're going to do in July to make your September a little bit easier? And until then, remember, you've got this. Keep showing up for you, and I'll see you in the next video.